If a husband's no good, you replace him. My husband didn't show up for the Dragon Boat Festival as promised. Worse, he brought his mistress to the nursing home, pretending she was a wealthy businesswoman visiting her mother. So, their real goal was to use his good looks to seize my entire inheritance? It turns out his purity, throughout our marriage, was all part of the scheme. Fine then. Mother, I'll find you a better son-in-law. This holiday, I had planned to take my husband to our newly opened charity nursing home to visit Mother, but he made excuses about being busy, saying he'd go with me when he had time. Seeing his cold, indifferent face, I was utterly disappointed and decided to go to the nursing home alone. As I pushed Mother's wheelchair out for a stroll, I saw Ethan and Sophia pushing an old woman, surrounded by reporters conducting interviews. Sophia was brazenly boasting about her success story to the reporters and directors, casting loving glances at Ethan. Bathed in the media's praises and surrounded by a few prominent business people, both Ethan and Sophia looked utterly smug. Even Sophia's mother puffed out her chest with pride. I let out a soft, derisive laugh and pushed Mother closer. "Ethan," I said, "you claim she's your wife, President Lynn of Lushan Group. Then who am I? If she's Lynn, who exactly am I?" My words stunned everyone present, but just as quickly, the director standing next to Sophia, after hearing me speak, looked me up and down and began to whisper. "Who are you to meddle in our business? Are you trying to claim you're President Lynn of Lushan Group? Where did this creature crawl out from? Today is a special interview session for the charity nursing home. Are you blind, daring to cause trouble here? That's right, you disrespectful hussy, get down on your knees and apologize. If President Lynn isn't pleased, your pathetic life won't be spared." Before Ethan could even speak, Sophia slammed her hand on the table and stood up, her face contorted with fury. She pointed directly at me and spat. "Who gave you permission to speak, huh? You have the audacity to question my husband, President Lynn's husband." I ignored Sophia's insults, my gaze fixed coldly on Ethan. "Ethan, didn't you hear what I said? Tell them, who am I?" A flicker of confusion crossed Ethan's eyes, then vanished. He immediately grabbed Sophia's hand, raising it high for the cameras and reporters. "Who is she? How should I know? What I do know is that the woman by my side is my wife, Madam Lynn, the world's largest investor. Given this unreasonable scene she's creating, I have to ask, what game are you trying to play?" The moment he finished speaking, everyone erupted in criticism against me. Some called me mentally unstable, others claimed I was a rival's pawn sent to cause disruption. My mother, utterly enraged, immediately raised her voice at Ethan. "Ethan, what are you saying? Aren't you my son-in-law? Who is that woman next to you? How can you let her impersonate my daughter?" The crowd burst into laughter, their mockery relentless. Like mother, like daughter, indeed. That old hag is delusional, claiming a son-in-law and bringing along this insolent girl. What a shameless family. We may never have met the legendary President Lynn, but director Ethan himself has confirmed it. How could that be wrong? If these two fraudsters want to deceive people, they should at least pick a suitable place. Witnessing those insults, my gaze immediately locked onto Ethan, who stood there gripping Sophia's hand, his eyebrows raised in arrogance. My Lushan Group holds the #1 position in global investment. Over 300 of the world's leading enterprises owe their current glory to my investments. Ethan's CEO position? I poured a huge sum of money into that so he could have it. I merely wanted to build his confidence, so I handed him the management rights while I supported him silently from the shadows. Who would have thought he'd be so brazen as to allow someone to impersonate me in public and suppress me? Just then my phone vibrated. A gentle reminder from Ethan popped up. Sophia's mother is constantly urging her to find a boyfriend. Out of pity for her mother, who is nearing the end of her life, I agreed to play her boyfriend for a day. She's truly pitiful. You should be a little more understanding. In return, I'll spend more time with you later. Don't make a fuss, my dear wife. I didn't care. I merely let out a faint, sarcastic chuckle. He was brazenly having an affair right in front of me, even defending his mistress. And yet, he dared to tell me to stop making a fuss. It seems he's been in that position for too long and has forgotten who he really is. With that thought, I picked up my phone, called my secretary, and immediately withdrew all investments from Ethan. No sooner had I sent the message than Sophia's mother pointed at my mother and cursed. "What kind of son-in-law is she talking about? Nonsense." She then grabbed my mother. This old woman still dares to dream about my son-in-law? What a pair of husses, mother and daughter. With that, she swung her hand, intending to scratch my mother, but I swiftly stepped forward to block her, my gaze chillingly fixed on Sophia. You'd better make an announcement to everyone, quickly. Otherwise, you know what will happen. To my surprise, Ethan brushed away my hand that was holding Sophia's mother and loudly berated me. I've already told you, I absolutely do not know you. Being educated doesn't mean I'll tolerate you bullying my wife and mother-in-law again and again. Yes, I know you're deliberately trying to get my attention, trying to win favor with my wife, but you are absolutely not allowed to disrespect my family. Slander us, and my company's legal department won't sit idly by. Just wait to be summoned to court. My mother's eyes reddened with indignation. She couldn't believe it. Because of that, vixen, you don't even recognize your own wife anymore. Hearing my mother, the nursing home director and the surrounding reporters who had been defending Sophia began to hurl terrible insults. Is this old woman senile? No manners at all, daring to be rude to Director Ethan. What an old harridan, raising such a disrespectful child. My mother clutched Ethan's jacket, looking at the once kind and obedient son-in-law now transformed into this monstrous form. Her heart ached as if being torn apart. At this moment, I looked at my unrepentant husband on the stage. I gently bowed my head, patted Mother's hand, and said, "Mother, don't worry. If he doesn't want to be your son-in-law, I'll find someone better to replace him." Hearing these words, Ethan froze, then furiously clenched his jaw and pressed his phone. My phone immediately buzzed with a message from him. "Lynn, what exactly are you trying to do? I've already explained that I'm just helping Sophia fulfill her mother's wish. Why are you so stubborn and refuse to let this go? If they knew your true identity, how could Sophia and her mother continue to stay at this nursing home? Can't you stop being so unreasonably jealous? If you weren't constantly causing trouble for me, why would everyone be scolding you? Take Mother home first. At worst, I'll come home early tonight to be with you." I gave a faint, cold smile and typed 2 words, "No need." With that, I put my phone away, ignoring the continuous notifications without even bothering to glance at them. If he loves this identity of mine so much, then I'll grant this treacherous couple their wish. Just then, medical staff rushed over to mediate, announcing that elderly residents should line up for blood pressure checks. As they led the seniors to queue, Sophia walked past me, her words dripping with provocation and contempt. "A lowly wench like you dares to contend with me? Even your husband has to obey me. Now, his heart only belongs to me. I'm not just the company's vice president now. In the future, everything that belongs to you will be mine." Ha 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 ha. I let out a sardonic laugh. Vice president? I had just confirmed that Ethan secretly placed Sophia in the vice president position simply to facilitate their illicit affair behind my back. It turns out, she knew early on that I was the one with real power, yet she thought she had Ethan securely in her grasp and wanted to oust me. My purpose in not leaving was to expose the filthy true faces of these two before the media and the board of directors, to see how long they could keep up their act, and to reclaim justice for my mother and me. While the nurses guided the elderly into line for blood pressure checks, Ethan and Sophia stood there, beaming, basking in the flattering words of the reporters and onlookers. At that very moment, something unexpected happened. Sophia's mother, still harboring resentment, shoved my mother with all her might. My mother stumbled a few steps, then fell. Seeing the scratches and bruises on Mother's arms, my heart clenched. Sophia's mother, gloating, sneered, "Look at that pathetic old woman, still trying to seduce my son-in-law." Rage exploded within me. I was about to lunge and slap her, but Ethan quickly stepped in front of me. "What are you doing?" My mother just accidentally bumped into her a little. "Why are you squabbling with an old woman?" My eyes were bloodshot as I glared at Ethan. "Are you blind? Her arms and hands are bleeding and bruised. This is clearly intentional assault." Sophia smirked, her face full of disdain and mockery. "Talking so much, isn't it just for money? Daring to extort money from this Lynn? You've got some nerve." As she spoke, she pulled out a golden black card from her purse and tossed it at my feet. "All right, I don't want to argue with a lowlife like you. There's $5 million in this card. Consider it medical expenses for your mother. If you're smart, take the money and get lost." The surrounding crowd quickly swarmed to fawn over Sophia and her mother, occasionally glancing at me with contempt and spitting on the ground. "A lowlife like you surely has no idea of the power of Lu Shan Group. Crushing you is no different than crushing a worm. Daring to lay hands on Director Ethan's mother? Why hasn't this crazy old hag just died already? Be smart, take the money, and disappear. Are you just going to stand there making a fool of yourself for everyone to see? The nurse was tending to my mother's wounds. Mother looked at Ethan, seemingly unfamiliar with him standing there, but he didn't spare her a single glance from beginning to end. Mother's face grew sad, and she softly told me, "Daughter, find someone else." Hearing Mother's words, Ethan paused for a moment, then glared at me with resentment. My phone rang continuously. I ignored it, only looking at the crowd around him, those who sided with the strong to bully the weak, uttering harsh words at me. I scanned the area, noticing various business people from different fields. Director Zhang of Fenghua Film and Television, Director Wang of Ocean Science and Technology, Director Quan of Donghua Company. As I called out their names one by one, these directors couldn't help but be astonished, for I had correctly named their companies. Lu Shan Group, which I lead, is the world's largest investment company. These people were all desperately hoping for support from Lu Shan to rescue their companies on the brink of bankruptcy. I coldly declared to everyone, "Not only will your companies go bankrupt tomorrow, but I also want you all to vanish from this industry." The directors were initially stunned, then burst into laughter, standing beside Ethan and Sophia, mocking me. "We didn't miss here, did we? Just now, she was here begging Director Lynn for money, and now she dares to brazenly threaten to make us disappear. Who does she think she is, really? Director Quan and President Lynn haven't even spoken, and you dare to spout such nonsense here?" Ethan's gaze shifted from aggressive to malicious. My phone continued to ring. "You'd better listen to me obediently before I truly lose my temper. Don't be foolish enough to cause any more trouble. Let me tell you, I now have absolute control in this company. Just one word from me, and you can be kicked out of here immediately. It's best you know your place a little. Quickly take your mother and get out of here." I ignored their threats, staring only at the despicable faces of the crowd before me. "I think you're all misunderstanding something. He's just a country bumpkin climbing the ranks by clinging to Sophia. This company isn't something you can just seize whenever you want." Sophia initially looked surprised, then hooked her arm through Ethan's, scoffing, and turned to scold me. Even though I rarely appear in public and my husband, Ethan, frequently works with the company's partners, that's no reason for you to impersonate me. It's utterly ridiculous. You dare to openly slander my reputation here and even threaten me in front of everyone. The company's legal department isn't just for show. I merely let out a few sarcastic chuckles, saying nothing more. Did she really think that getting rid of Ethan would allow her to take my place? Unfortunately, her calculations were wrong because my people were about to arrive. I had only given Ethan the highest management authority in the company. The ultimate decision-making power has always been in my hands. These two fools still want to kick me out of the game? How utterly laughable. Most people sided with Sophia, mocking me. Only Ethan looked at me with bitter resentment. I knew she was starting to get scared. At that moment, a reporter among the crowd shouted, "It's trending on search engines." As he spoke, the paparazzi and reporters, clutching microphones, began to defend Sophia's mother while simultaneously interrogating my mother. "That incident with the bruises, was it intentional? Did you fall on purpose to frame someone else? When framing failed, you instigated your daughter to extort money from them. Do you realize your actions constitute fraud?" My mother was speechless with injustice, only able to sob, unsure how to explain herself. I quickly shielded Mother. As I tried to fend off the crowd, I discovered that someone had maliciously edited the video footage of the incident and posted it online. Primarily, my attempt to protect Mother was twisted into an act of extortion, leading to fierce condemnation from the online community. The nursing home's address was also exposed. My mother was distressed and wanted to leave, as insults continued to pour in, even vulgar language from the crowd. The directors, meanwhile, rushed to curry favor with Ethan and Sophia, and worse, allowed a curious mob to gather and harass us. "Ungrateful people like you and your mother, how dare you show your faces in this charity nursing home? Truly ugly inside and out. Seeing wealthy people, they want to extort money. We should sue them and make them pay until they're penniless." To make matters worse, some thoughtless elderly people even picked up baskets of vegetables and threw eggs directly at my mother and me. "Get out of the nursing home! Get out of the nursing home!" Just then, several sleek black cars pulled up by the road. A sharp-eyed person recognized the newly arrived individual. It's a luxury car from Lu Shan Investment. Lu Shan's people are here to resolve things. Seeing this, the directors continued to hurl harsh insults at my mother and me. The reporters, who had just been questioning my mother, now surrounded me, as if already condemning me. Coldly, they said, "Madam, the actions you and your mother have caused public outrage, and furthermore, impersonating President Lynn has damaged the reputation of these directors. Not only will you face huge compensation and lawsuits, do you feel any regret?" Sophia looked lovingly at Ethan, then glared at me amidst the crowd with a triumphant expression, while her mother became even more arrogant and overbearing. With a face full of confidence, Sophia believed that by manipulating public opinion and a few schemes, she could turn me from a high-status individual into a prisoner. She raised her hand, and immediately the noisy crowd and those directors fell silent. Sophia took a few steps closer to me, a clear look of triumph on her face, and said, "Wouldn't it have been better to just obediently work under me and live a comfortable life? Why did you insist on confronting me to this extent?" I remained silent, only staring at Ethan. Then I spoke coldly, directing my words towards Sophia, who stood beside him. "Your true colors are about to be completely exposed." Ethan, once again, vigorously defended Sophia. "Stop talking. Your people have long since been bought by me. Do you think they're here to save you? On the contrary, they're here to take your life. Just accept your fate and live in prison in the next life. I'll take good care of your company for you, and as for your old mother, I'll have someone put her out on the streets to beg." The more she spoke, the more agitated Sophia became. She closed in on me, threatening coldly, "As for your husband, I'll take very good care of him for you. You just obediently sit in prison and repent. Still dare to go against me?" At this point, I truly couldn't tolerate it anymore. From the very first time I discovered Ethan and Sophia's sordid affairs in the office, I began to plan. Finally, these two had revealed their true faces. Looking at their triumphant expressions, a fleeting sense of regret crossed my mind. What goes around comes around. No sooner had I finished speaking than the company's lawyer, Leo, pushed through the crowd and walked straight towards me. The other directors quickly recognized him. "Isn't that lawyer Leo Chin, the boss's subordinate?" An outstanding law student from Jingcheng University. They say he started litigating everywhere right after graduation and has almost never lost a case. It seems these two mother and daughter are done for today. Ethan and Sophia looked at me with smug, delighted expressions. However, when the lawyer reached me and called me boss, everyone was stunned. Ethan's face was filled with suspicion. Ignoring everyone present, he immediately yelled at Leo Chin, "What the hell are you doing? Didn't we team up to put her in prison?" Leo Chin smiled gently at me, then turned to look at the two of them. "If I hadn't informed Boss Lin beforehand and collaborated with you, your and Sophia's true colors wouldn't have been exposed so quickly, would they?" As soon as they heard this, both Ethan and Sophia felt disaster looming. Ethan's face turned blank, full of bewilderment. Sophia's beautiful dream shattered, revealing a ferocious look as she stared at me. "It's all your fault, all because of you, you devil." I brushed off the egg stuck on my clothes, straightened them, and instructed someone to take my mother to change. Turning to Leo Chin, I gently said, "Leo, you did very well. Hand over all the evidence of their crimes to me. I'll take care of everything else." With that, I coldly looked at Ethan and Sophia. "Ethan, as a husband, you never fulfilled your responsibilities, nor were you filial to elders. You even secretly cheated behind my back. I've brought the divorce agreement here. You'd best sign it and leave with nothing. If you dare to resist, I have plenty of photos and videos of you intimately involved with this promiscuous woman. I wouldn't hesitate to send you to prison." Watching Ethan sign the divorce papers, I then turned my gaze to Sophia and spoke. "Sophia, your mother intentionally injured my mother. I've already sent the most authentic video footage of the incident to law enforcement. Your mother will surely be counting days in prison soon. And you, during your years at the company, you embezzled, accepted bribes, and misappropriated public funds. I've also handed over all evidence of your crimes to the authorities. Go reunite with your mother there." Hearing me say this, Sophia collapsed to the ground, unable to believe that all her meticulously hidden actions had been discovered by me so early, and that I had used her own schemes against her. Her face turned ashen, such a well-played game shattered into pieces. Ethan's face was filled with fear, his heart full of unwillingness, but he had no strength left to turn the tide. He was powerless. I looked at the two sitting on the ground and let out a faint, sarcastic chuckle. "Weren't you so arrogant just a moment ago? Did you really think that with your two dull minds you could bring me down? There's no chance in this lifetime. Wait until the next one. Their faces revealed anger, but they were helpless before me. The winner takes all, the loser is the villain. I endured everything to see what other parasites were undermining the company besides these two ungrateful individuals. Today, I will eradicate this pestilence from its roots. With that, my gaze shifted to the group of business people who had just uttered contemptuous and harsh words to me. They were utterly terrified, not even daring to look me directly in the eye because they were afraid that they had made a wrong bet. But in reality, they had lost their bet. I slowly approached them, my voice as cold as ice. Do you think Lynn is gentle and easily bullied? You fools, you don't even recognize who the true owner is. It's a waste that you are leaders in this industry here. I stopped in front of them, growing angrier with each thought, and continued. Today, you dared to speak so rudely and maliciously to me, and even manipulated public opinion to incite that crowd to criticize me. I will engrave this in my heart. After dealing with these parasites, I will come for each of you one by one to settle accounts. Finished speaking, I turned to Leo Chin. Leo, take them away and let the law handle them. Leo Chin nodded, ordering the people behind him to escort Ethan and Sophia away. Watching their retreating figures, my heart swelled with satisfaction. What remained was this group of unethical reporters. Some bowed their heads silently, others had quickly vanished with their cameras. My gaze sharply swept around, my voice becoming more resolute. And you, this group of reporters, you should uphold journalistic ethics and convey truthful information. Yet you deliberately distorted the facts, confused right and wrong, and twisted the truth. Is this your spirit of dedication to your work? I will inform your respective companies of your actions today, so your leaders can review and criticize you in front of all employees. If I ever find out you prioritize profit over ethics again, I will not forgive you. At this moment, the reporters were extremely frightened, because my position was already very high. I didn't want to bother with these small fries, so I decided not to punish them. The next day, during the company board meeting to elect a new leader though, it wasn't strictly a formal board meeting, as my presence meant my vote was ultimately decisive through a ballot among a few shareholders on the management board. I transferred the company's management authority to Leo Chin because of his exceptional abilities. At that time, I was 2 years his senior in university. His appearance exuded maturity and style, captivating many senior female students. Even the campus beauty queen didn't dare express her feelings, as a previous girl had been severely rebuked and embarrassed by him in front of a crowd. From then on, no one dared to bother this iceberg of a man anymore, that famous sophomore. My acquaintance with him was purely accidental. I was carrying an ice cream cone, heading to the library to read. As I passed his desk, he unexpectedly stood up and bumped into me. He looked me up and down, while the ice cream accidentally splattered onto his face. Witnessing that, I immediately became flustered, my face flushed with embarrassment. He noticed my gaze fixed on the long black socks he was wearing. He glanced around, saw no one, then the corners of his mouth curved into a captivating smile. At that time, Leo Chin was still a young, slender student, dressed no differently from his peers, yet he possessed an alluring beauty that drew many admirers, each of whom he rejected outright. This probably drew the attention of some rich and influential young men, sparking the idea that if they couldn't have him, they would ruin him. Once, I saw him cornered by a few bullies. I stepped in to help him escape them, taking a beating myself. After that incident, we learned each other's names and classes, exchanged contact information, but didn't keep in touch much. After all, I studied finance, he studied law, and I was 2 years ahead of him. I held my breath, admiring his handsome, captivating face, not daring to speak, like a bookworm lost in thought. He seemed to notice the ice cream on his face. Slightly embarrassed, I was about to grab a tissue to wipe it for him when a voice whispered in my ear, "Wipe it off." My ears immediately flushed red. I hastily wiped a few times, then grabbed my bag and ran off. My face was blank. This is too bold. I'm still a naive teenage girl. I've never encountered such a situation before. But the next day, during class, a hotshot from another department transferred to ours. I was sitting in the tiered lecture hall, a little distracted, having already learned most of the material. I'd long memorized everything the professor taught. Just then, someone placed a bag on the empty seat next to me and softly asked, "Excuse me, is this seat taken?" I replied irritably, "Can't you see?" When I looked up at him, I immediately regretted it. Sorry, no one's sitting here, please take a seat. Leo Chin, as always, wore black-rimmed glasses, comfortable trousers, and white sports shoes. I asked curiously, "Sir, it's over 30 degrees outside, aren't you hot?" He held up his middle finger to me, leaning in close to say, "I told you yesterday, I cleaned it all up, but you ran away before you even wiped me dry." I felt my face start to burn again. I'm just a young girl, why does he keep teasing me like this? I was momentarily speechless, so I silently switched to asking him why, despite being so good at law, he transferred to another major. He calmly replied, "I've already completed the curriculum from first to fourth year, grasping all the basic knowledge. I found you interesting, so I came here to study more. If you need, I can even tutor you." It was truly unexpected. I always thought I was talented, but it turned out the real genius was someone younger than me. From then on, we got to know each other. That was also the first time I bought a gift for a guy. A black tie, carefully chosen by me, made everyone in the clothing store stare at me as if I were a wife overly devoted to her husband. Their gazes were full of curiosity. After graduation, I took over the family company and invited Leo Chin to be my legal advisor. Since I always considered him a close friend, I asked for his help in my work. However, under my parents' arrangement, I met Ethan. Although we weren't close, he constantly invited me out to eat. After 52 invitations, I finally agreed. Initially, he was very good at winning over my mother, always finding ways to create surprises and emotional moments. So, my mother arranged for him to work at the company. I thought, since we were getting married anyway, I'd hand the company over to him to manage. A few years later, Ethan brought Sophia into the company and quickly promoted her to vice president, then secretly carried out illicit activities in the office. After that, instigated by Sophia, he even wanted to conspire with the company's second-in-command, Leo Chin, to overthrow me. Leo Chin, unsure what to do, came to discuss it with me. I told him to wait until they revealed their true colors. That would be the time to end everything. He could pretend to agree. So I knew everything from the start. I knew he didn't come with me to visit Mother, certainly because of Sophia. What a coincidence that I met him at the nursing home. Truly, paths cross in unexpected ways. If I hadn't exposed everything in front of him, perhaps he would have gone to his grave thinking I knew nothing. The very first time he was secretly involved, I found torn black stockings and used condoms in the office trash can. The most horrifying thing was that while I was away on a business trip, they brazenly had sex on our very own matrimonial bed. Yellowish stains of dried semen still lingered on the bed frame after their passionate nights. I knew everything. I understood every single detail. Before, I always believed that love was about being moved. So when I softened towards him, I mistakenly thought I was in love. But that wasn't the truth. After his first affair, I only felt a slight sense of emptiness. Perhaps it was just the feeling of betrayal. Now, everything is in the past. In the dead of night, I sat alone in my office, recalling university memories. Remembering the moments with him, perhaps the one who truly made my heart flutter had always been him. For the past few years, though I bore the title of Ethan's wife, there was no marital affection between us whatsoever. I hadn't even touched him once. Finished speaking, I took a sip of water, sitting blankly in my office, and lit a cigarette. Suddenly, there was a sound outside the door. I hadn't turned on the lights, only seeing that the person who just arrived was wearing a white shirt. As he got closer, I realized it was Leo Chin. He still wore his familiar black-rimmed glasses and the black tie I had given him. I knew this was the first time he had ever worn it. He walked over, snatched the cigarette from my hand, took a drag, and flicked the ash. He sat on my desk and softly asked, "Boss, do I have a chance this time?" I looked at his luscious red lips and his adoring gaze, and I chuckled. "Are you playing my loyal puppy dog? Aren't you the cold, aloof heartthrob of the university? Aren't we good friends?" Leo Chin looked at me with a rather unfriendly gaze. "Who wants to be good friends with you? I've been waiting for you for years, you know." "Do you think just anyone can talk to me? It depends on who I want to talk to." I scratched my head, looking at him questioningly. "Could it be that you were after my body all along?" Leo Chin glared at me and replied, "What do you think? Oh, why is this tie you bought me so tight?" Seeing his bewildered expression, I let out a helpless laugh. "Brother, you should know that 5 years have passed. Didn't you gain some weight?" He jumped down from the desk, lightly patted my shoulder. I spoke up, "Let's go, senior, I'll treat you to something delicious." He nodded in agreement, then asked me to help him put on his vest. "This outfit is too uncomfortable." Good thing I brought my vest when I came. Truth be told, I had cleared my throat several times. With that, both of us stepped out of the company building together. Sitting in the car, I looked at him, still with his familiar glasses, his cheekbones just like the image I'd etched in my mind years ago. Curiosity compelled me to ask, "When did you start having feelings for me?" Leo Chin smiled at me. "You know what? Actually, that group of people that day, I was the one who sought them out. Who knew you were such a bookworm, you didn't even bother to listen to my explanation, just pushed me out to take the beating." My eyes widened in surprise. "Young master, you really put me through the ringer. When I got home, my mother lectured me fiercely." Leo Chin chuckled, comforting me. It's all right, it's all right. All expenses today are on me." In a luxurious restaurant, Leo Chin and I sat opposite each other, clinking glasses and draining our red wine. The wine had started to take effect, and the food had significantly dwindled. Seeing the empty plates after we had ravaged them, we both laughed, looking at each other. Indeed, the entire day had been busy with all sorts of matters, leaving no time to eat. Leo Chin was my most capable right-hand man, and also the one who contributed most to my success this time. Afterwards, I casually asked him a few side stories. Leo Chin informed me that currently, all the businessmen involved in the incident were facing boycotts and blockades from the business community. The reporters and disruptors from that day had also been dealt with. The mastermind, Ethan, was sentenced to 10 years in prison for embezzlement of public funds and accepting bribes. Sophia also received a 20-year sentence for embezzlement and suspected illegal gambling. Sophia's mother, for intentional injury, but with non-severe circumstances, was temporarily detained for rehabilitation for 15 days. Everything had settled down. I happily looked at Leo Chin, expressing my heartfelt gratitude. "You've endured so much working at the company for so many years, truly a legal genius, Leo." Seeing that he still had a naive look, I began to tease him. In response, Leo Chin said, "Not entirely. Consider it learning by doing." I saw a spot of ice cream on his cheek and pointed to it. I laughed and said, "I'm no longer the naive little girl I once was, you know." He seemed caught off guard, hastily searching for a tissue to wipe it, then turned to chide me. All right, all right." Our laughter seemed a bit loud, causing people around us to turn their heads. Leo Chin and I walked, and my hand accidentally brushed his, which he immediately clasped tightly. "Why are you so brave to steal but not dare to snatch? There's truly no one like you. Do I even have to make the first move?" I smiled, bowing my head. Indeed, I wasn't very skilled in matters of the heart, but when it came to economics and investment, I was an expert. I wrapped my arms around him. "Thank you, Leo, for waiting so long for me. I'm sorry, I promised to marry you for the rest of my life." Leo Chin was so happy he was almost in tears, like sunshine after the rain. He later recounted that when I married Ethan, he was heartbroken. He felt his affections were misplaced. He didn't even ask me about it. It wasn't until he spoke with Ethan that he learned the lengths Ethan went to win me over. He had used every trick, even deceiving my mother, to become her chosen son-in-law. During that time, Leo Chin seemed to suffer even more than I did, believing I had been emotionally wounded and was facing marital betrayal. However, when he confided in me, my heart remained unmoved. I only felt that this clandestine love affair was finally coming to an end. A few days later, I brought Leo Chin home to introduce him to Mother. Mother's health had stabilized. Before, I was busy with work, but now I wanted to focus on caring for her. I still felt more at ease having Mother live with me, as people's hearts are now unpredictable, making it hard to distinguish good from bad. After Leo Chin told Mother everything, she was also incredibly astonished. But fortunately, the outcome was good, and now I had a new life. I looked at Mother, smiling, and said, "See, Mother, I told you the Lynn family is never short of sons-in-law." Mother was overjoyed, holding Leo Chin's hand and wanting to chat intimately. A few months later, Leo Chin and I held a grand wedding, attended by many people from our circles who came to offer their blessings. Since that day, my home has always been bustling with guests. Life after marriage was incredibly happy. Sometimes Leo Chin would come up with all sorts of tricks to tease me, even going naked just to make me happy. After those intimate moments, I embraced him and shared my deepest thoughts. "Leo, I want you to manage the company from now on. I want to become a good wife, taking care of the home." He turned to look at me in surprise. "Why? Are you too tired? Or did something happen?" I looked at him for a long time, then gently said, "No, my love, I can't eat your cooking. Tomorrow, let me cook for you." Leo Chin pouted, lightly hitting me. "How mean, you dare to criticize me? Well, I've never cooked before, have I?" They say it's true. When life closes one door, it opens another. I lightly patted his head. Go to sleep, I'm sleepy. The moonlight filtered through the window, illuminating Liu Chin's face. I quietly watched him and whispered softly.